Have you listened to country music recently and noticed how everything sounds like this?
Cottonwood falling like snow in July.
Said fireflies popping like a 4th of July, yeah.
Breeze blowing in, your hair blowing round. You scanning through the stations looking for that country sound.
Trucks jacked up, flat bills flip back.
It's going down just right.
Girl, you make my speakers go boom, boom.
We hanging round, singing down everything on the radio.
I need to hold up, I wanna show you.
So, how does the era of Elton John, Garth Brooks, and original Reba McEntire, not that new crap, with diverse sounds and appealing lyrics, grow into a mashup of songs about trucks, girls, and fireflies? The authors of the paper Evolution of Music by Public Choice attempted to address how the population could have caused this era of increasingly diverse and meaningful country music to reach a stasis of musical ingenuity, changing its course of increasing lyrical richness and morphing into many versions of the same song. Just like most living things and cultures, music also experiences descent with modification as musicians adopt and spread their ideas, often modifying them in the process. To see how consumer selection impacts musical composition variance, the authors constructed a Darwinian music engine called Darwin Tunes, consisting of a population of audio loops that can mate and mutate. This population evolved for 2,500 generations under the selective influence of nearly 7,000 consumers who rated the loops' aesthetic qualities. They found that the loops quickly evolved into aesthetically pleasing chords and rhythms. Just a few hundred generations removed from the initial population, chord evolution quickly slowed and reached a stasis. The authors attributed the stasis to a decrease in the fidelity of transmission. Their experiment attempted to show how musical adaptations are defined by competing evolutionary forces. In reference to this figure, the Darwin Tunes population has an initial 100 loops created by two random producers, each of which is 8 seconds long. In random order to prevent bias, consumers rated them, and once 20 loops were rated, the best 10 loops were allowed to sexually reproduce, resulting in 2 daughters each. These daughters replaced the parent loops, preventing population growth. The 100 loops were allowed to evolve for 100 generations without selection to maximize variation in the starting population. Ratings were kept private from the public to prevent group bias. For the duration of the entire experiment, 6,931 consumers made 85,533 ratings over the course of 2,513 generations of evolution, during which 50,480 loops were born. But how is this process driven? Initially, producers like writers and performers make decisions on what the consumers listen to based on their own preferences. However, the consumer themselves decide on how well the music survives and reproduces in the population. Composers, producers, performers, and consumers all play roles in the success of a musical species, and the effect of these roles seems unclear and blurred together. However, in reference to this figure, music is experiencing a convergence of melody and lyrics. As the producers of music blend their sound and the consumer population has a much larger impact on the success of a musical species, songs are being catered to the aesthetic preferences of the population who listens to them. This mainly includes young to middle-aged people whose musical influences are becoming more and more similar to that of their parents. This explains why the graph is logistic and variation in music is plateauing. It is clear, then, that music is losing its variation via the waterfall effect that was previously mentioned. This is due to the larger impact of the consumer population on the success of a song and the ease at which music is spread due to the introduction of digital distribution. The theories of descent with modification and convergent evolution play a large role in explaining how music reproduces and spreads. Similar to how the human population is experiencing interracial mixing, music will soon merge into a conglomeration of similar melodies of the same lyrics, as seen in the figure and heard in the country music.